Well, the Eastern Cape's been battered again by bad weather this weekend. Gale force winds leaving 2 people dead and damaging homes. The roads have been blocked by mudslides and some health facilities have also been damaged. We're going to go down to East London with Ronald Masinda in just a moment because, Ronald, hello to you. Every time there's heavy rain, for example, the issue of maintenance, the issue of badly managed infrastructure is a big problem. Ronald, I'll come to you firstly. Stand by for me in Joburg. We'll talk about Joburg City in a moment. First of all, mitigating the impact and proper maintenance. Is that what you're seeing this morning, Ronald Masinda? Hello.
Good morning, Gareth. Well, we are outside East London's City Hall, and exactly at 8:30 we are expecting Zolile Williams, who is the Cocta MEC, to meet with authorities from the Buffalo City Metropolitan Municipality. We do understand that this weekend he did meet members of disaster management, and part of today's meeting will also to assess some of the damages that have been caused in the metro. We will also expect him to visit some of the areas that have been affected. But as you rightly mentioned, 2 deaths have been confirmed. The first one was reported in Potsdam Village. This after a woman who was sleeping at the time where her roof and her home just got completely damaged, and she sadly lost her life. We also understand that another death was confirmed in Stony Drift in Amalinda, where a male also died after his shack was destroyed by the strong winds. So unfortunately, loss of life has been confirmed, but we also understand there's been extensive damage to some of the health facilities, not only here in the Buffalo City Metro, but also across the province, where there have been reports also confirmed in Trofimvaba and Port St. John's. But what we also know, Gareth, is that out of the 50 wards here in BCM, at least 28 have been badly affected. So shortly after the MEC's visit, we will be going to some of these areas that have been badly affected.
So give us a sense then. We're asking the question today, Ronald, about how governments are handling a lack of infrastructure and aging cities. And that's what we're going to be going to Slee in Johannesburg to talk about as well in a second. So, Ronald, let me just come back down to you before I say goodbye to you. You know the area. You've lived in the area a long time. Give us a sense of what it looks like now versus maybe a couple of years ago, and what the residents are saying, what government is doing in that province.
So the Eastern Cape has now been described by many as the epicenter for climate change, and we've been reporting for several months now about some of these disasters that have occurred across the province. We've been Port St. John's, where people have lost their lives, and in Coffee Bay, as well as Qonga, and also other affected areas recently have been Komani. So the concern, however, Gareth, is whenever these disasters occur, it takes quite a while for authorities to try and fix infrastructure that has been damaged. I mean, we also know of roads that have for months now been closed due to this impact. So the concerns, however, also is with municipalities that are unable to foot the bill whenever these damages occur, and let alone there are also other issues such as service delivery issues in areas that we will be going to, like in Tanzania. For several weeks now, people there have been up in arms, some of them even saying that they will now be taking their fight to the union buildings as their calls to fix infrastructure has fallen on deaf ears. So we want to get a better understanding as to how much has this damage caused due to the gale force winds. So we'll sooner be hearing from the MEC as to the extent of the damage.
Ronald Masinda then, for the moment, down in the Eastern Cape for us. Quite right, the epicenter of global warming, at least as far as our country is concerned. Ronald, thank you very much. We'll come back to you a little bit later. Let's head back up here to Johannesburg, though, from East London to Joburg. Hello, Slee. Silindelo, Masikane, let's come to you. So, living in Joburg, driving around the Joburg CBD, still a fascinating place to live, but not as attractive as it used to be. But we're told, Slee, it's a world-class city. Here's the problem. Doesn't necessarily look like one. Good morning.
Good morning. Certainly so. We find ourselves in downtown Johannesburg, and of course anybody who is familiar with Johannesburg would know just some of the issues that it's plagued with, from service delivery issues, of course, to issues around crime and corruption, and the fact that we now of course see just how dilapidated some of the infrastructure is looking, littered with potholes, littered with just rubbish itself, so there are a lot of issues stemming from what many believe to be the political instability within the city of Johannesburg. Certainly a shadow of itself from what it used to be years ago. And of course we know that for the longest time the party that was governing and in charge here was of course the African National Congress. And I am joined by the regional chairperson, that is Mr. Tata Morena. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Of course many would say that Johannesburg is certainly not what it used to be, and at this point not a world-class African city. Your reaction?
Well, thank you very much, and good morning to your viewers. Where we are now as the ANC, we think that we are making progress in as far as recapturing and reimagining the city of Johannesburg. As you know, that since 2016 they lost power, and there were a number of things that happened. As a result of that, Johannesburg had shown signs of collapse. Now we think that at this point we are ready to recapture Johannesburg. One of the most important things that we had to do was first and foremost to stabilize the municipality, both administratively and the political leadership. What we have also done between February and now was to ensure that the financial position of the city becomes healthy. And what we have seen in the last 2 weeks is an increase in as far as our collection rate is concerned, which is now sitting at around 87%. Of course, with our target for 91 collection rate at least by October this year. So we are making progress in as far as the finances are concerned. We have also accepted that there's high levels of lawlessness in Johannesburg, something that we want to take quite seriously, and hence we have agreed with the MMC responsible for public safety that they need to move faster in as far as by-law enforcement is concerned to ensure that we can deal with lawlessness. Secondly, the mayor has prioritized the issue around dealing with the Zamazamas, who have to a large extent affected our infrastructure. Now the ANC leadership is taking the matter quite seriously, and we have made some proposals towards approaching the Minister of Defense and the Minister of Police that they should come and intervene urgently in Johannesburg, precisely because the infrastructure underneath has been affected quite severely. Just in the last 2 days there have been shootings between the Zamazamas just around the area of Ward 68, and we are concerned because lives of innocent people have been put at risk as a result of the gangs in the Zamazamas fighting. So
why should then the residents of Johannesburg have any more faith left in parties like the ANC, these coalition governments that are seemingly failing at getting the basics right?
Well, we think we're doing well. You can go to Alexander now. We've implemented a serious program in terms of cleaning and keeping Alexander clean. It's working very well. We're rolling out those programs to clean. But as I said, yes, there are weaknesses in as far as lawlessness is concerned, and we are trying our level best. So we only came now in February after almost the entire 5 years of a different regime that had contributed to the collapse of Johannesburg. So we are bringing back the basics, focusing on the basics, ensuring that we can at least in the next financial year see signs of real improvement in as far as changing the face of Johannesburg. We have also accepted that the economic situation generally in the country is not helping. As you know, that we need resources, we need money for us to be able to do certain things and do them right. But we hope that given enough time in this financial year, we will change the face of Johannesburg. The blast that in the former Bree Street has also contributed in derailing some of the programs that we want to do, because that would mean reprioritizing the budgets to focus into that disaster. So as we try and do certain things, we also experience weaknesses that are as a result of, in the main, lawlessness and the economic conditions of the country, and the people not being able to contribute or pay for services that they receive. Load shedding, also on the other hand, is not helping. It's also affecting our ability to bill. As you know, without electricity, we are unable to send bills out for us to ensure that our billing goes well. So,
just quickly, Mr. Morero, as the economic hub of the country, do you think Johannesburg should be exempt from load shedding?
In fact, we want to ensure that we keep the lights on in Johannesburg, and there are programs that we have put in place at City Power. You will see progress, you will see achievement around November this year. We think by December we would have kept 90% of Johannesburg out of load shedding as a result of our commitment as the city of Johannesburg, of course working with ESCOM and the Minister of Electricity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, that is the chairperson of the ANC here in Johannesburg, Mr. Tata Morero, making some big promises and also speaking to some of the issues that we've mentioned around why Johannesburg is in the state that it's in. And it does seem as though that there is some political will to try and turn things around. But for the remainder of the day, we will be speaking to other stakeholders and speaking to general residents of Johannesburg to get the sense of how they're feeling about the city.
Yeah, absolutely, especially those who may have been around what some are calling the heyday of the Joburg CBD. Beautiful buildings, outdoor parks. Doesn't look anything like that these days, not even to mention the crime. But Slee, we'll check in with you again later today. Senior reporter Silindelo Masikane for us up in Johannesburg, taking a look at that CBD. We have Ronald Masinda down in East London looking at that part of the country, and our other reporters from all the other parts of the country that we cover coming to you later in the day as part of our focus about the degradation of our cities here on eNCA.